Can we spend our way out of recession? The Black Lives Matter, this new review by Boris Johnson, will it really work? The 2-metre rule or no 2-metre rule? That is the question. All this and more on the latest Voice of London. Hello and welcome to the latest Voice of London with me, Ian Pelham Turner, on ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk. Well, to say it's another eventful week doesn't really describe it adequately. We first of all look at the reopening of non-essential shops in UK and businesses. So, can we spend our way out of recession? The reality yesterday was that people were queuing, yes, from 6 o'clock in the morning just to get into stores for 10 o'clock. Now, at the moment, we seriously face in Britain a major recession in our economy. The OECD is saying we were 11.4% down on similar times last year. When in 2008 we went through a recession, then we were only 2%. Now it's 11.4, so we are in for a bad time. The way to get out of this period in our lives is for Britain not to feel fearful anymore about going to shop, but to go and shop in numbers and spend the money, open businesses back up again. So perhaps yesterday the queues that we saw were very eventful in the fact that young people, especially who have the money, who have saved money up during lockdown, now wish to spend it. Now, some of the shops were saying that their takings were up 50% from online activities. So this is a very good first time out. Will this continue? How are we going to ensure that people's shop safely at the moment? This is one of the major concerns as well. But at the moment, things seem to be going well. The rate for deaths in UK is dropping dramatically at the same time. So hopefully Britain is becoming a safer place to come and visit again, and the shops and the businesses are hoping, please, to goodness, let us start shopping again, let's start opening up businesses, and let's create safety for the shop workers at the same time. Now, with the Black Lives Matter, major issues have been happening over the weekend where there were clashes with right-wing organisations as well, who were trying to, what they called, save the statues. At the moment, for me, Black Lives Matter is a major concern, and we will be dealing more about it during one of our shows this week at the same time. I feel at the moment, though, that the reality with Black Lives Matter and with this commission that Boris Johnson has been talking about, is he trying to kick this issue into the long grass, as we say? Because at the moment there have been 4 major reports on Black Lives Matter in the past several years. And all the people who have created these reports are saying, what about our report? Why aren't you really creating any of the resolve from the issues that we have found answers for? Now, for me, I know, and Albanians as well, we want the whole country in UK to feel like first-class citizens. It's very important. It's very important for our channel, ALB UK TV, to be seen to be doing this as well, and Positive Britain at the same time. One of our biggest remits is to actually ensure that all citizens, irrespective of their colour or their race or their religion, feel like first-class citizens and are seen as giving value to the country at the same time. So to Mr. Johnson, I'm sure he's got his usual swagger on something like this and is saying he's going to set up another commission, another report. but a lot of people from the Black Lives Matter movement are saying, in reality, are you really listening to us or not? So Boris Johnson, hopefully you're listening, hopefully your government is listening, because next to issues like coronavirus, this is one of the burning issues right now that are happening in Britain today alongside Brexit. So, we look at all the issues that are going on at the moment within London especially, and really right across the country. And the question is being asked, is the 2-metre rule really effective? Is it really following the science of infection and decreasing infection, or what is really happening at the same time? I received an email this morning from very high-end scientists saying the reality is this 2-metre rule, and they're coming from all over the world, it's not purely UK, really doesn't hold water for them at all either. Yet others are saying that if you sneeze or you cough, the actual droplets that you exhale around you, if you're outside, can have a big effect. And if you're facing someone with less than 6 feet away, the 2-metre rule away, then the reality is that they have up to 10 times more likely to catch coronavirus. That's if you have it in the first place. So probably one of the things we should be looking at the moment, I think, with this whole issue is how is the test, tracking and tracing getting on at the moment? It seems to be picking up speed. From what I can understand, that the app that was going to be produced for this, that was going to be the saviour of the government, where is it? It doesn't appear to be anywhere in sight at the moment. We're not sure whether it's working properly or not. So for me at the moment, I want to keep Britain safe. Yes, I think the lockdown was very, very necessary at the same time. This 2-metre rule, the problem with it is that it crushes our tourism and our hospitality industry at the same time, because they are saying we cannot get enough people into our cafes, our hotels, our restaurants, whatever, our public houses, our bars, our clubs, to actually make it profitable and get our businesses back on our feet again. Now, the problem with this 2-metre rule is, and with all its implications, is that tourism and hospitality is the second largest business economy in the UK. So what are the government going to do about it? Well, Boris Johnson is saying this week that he is looking at a review of the 2-metre rule, and that he may be relinquishing this 2-metre rule to a point over the next couple of weeks, and that perhaps on July the 4th, when issues like hairdressers and other non-essential services that haven't been allowed to operate, cafes, restaurants, bars, for example, can actually come back into fruition again and give the economy a boost that it needs. So the 2-metre rule, yes, who knows where we're going to be with that at the moment. There seems to be so much conflict going on with that, but I hope in reality that we create an economy that is successful, but it is safe at the same time. And we carry on with Mr. Boris Johnson and what's happening at the moment. We are getting issues from Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who is sort of saying unless Britain gives a much fairer deal, he feels that we are going into the Brexit talks and will end up with no deal. Now, at the moment, one of the big contentions, it's not a small business, but it's a big red line, as we call it in British politics, is the fishing rights. And the French are really asking for the same fishing rights that they have right now in the English Channel and the North Sea. Boris Johnson and the government are saying, no way at all are we going to allow this to happen. We will sell our fish, and our fishermen will sell fish to France, but we're not going to have the same type of concessions for French fishermen to come into these zones that are now in British waters. So where does this leave us at the end of the day? As I say, I think at the moment I look at where are we in our world economy right now. We could be, at one stage, we were 5th economy in the world. Now, I've no idea where we are, but my fear is that as we're going into global recession, then who are we going to trade with as well as part of this new policy after Brexit? I don't know. So I look to the government for answers, and who knows what's going to happen next as far as this government is concerned. One minute they make one decision, and then they flip-flop, as we call it, and they create all sorts of alternative decisions as well. So perhaps Emmanuel Macron may have a point. It's not a large industry. It's about 3% of our economy, fishing. I understand how fishermen in UK want to preserve their waters, but I think at the same time we have to look to sort of see how can we compromise, how can we create a deal that is going to bring value to Britain and also allowed us to be able to trade with other parts of the world at the same time. So finally, with Michael Gove, he is part of the Grand Duchy, which is a senior member of the British Cabinet in London. And he is saying we have to go for the light touch policy. What that means is that as goods come into UK, they won't be scrutinized with major paperwork, that we're going to allow a very soft touch policy for the first 6 months in order to sort of keep trade going freely and flowing freely between different parts of perhaps the EU and the UK in the ports especially. But I think he's expecting that the EU are going to do the same. And the EU at the moment, I feel now is looking at the British economy, 11.4% down. And I think they're going to say to us, hang on a minute, we have a much higher economy than you do, some up to just 5% like Germany. So who is the stronger and who is the weaker? So at the moment, I look at all these economies and the reality is who is going to win in something like this. Michael Gove keeps on saying that the EU will blink first. It's his method of saying we will win, whatever. Well, I don't feel that confident about this British government at the moment. I look at the leadership and there appears to be very little leadership going on. And I don't seem to think they're getting a lot of things right. They, remember, said that having up to 20,000 deaths, they would consider a success story. Now we're up to 44,000 deaths, double the amount. So this is the first half of the show. It's meant to be thought-provoking at the same time. And now we're going to take a short break. And then we're going to talk about male mental health with an expert from UDAV, the charity. So take a short break. Please stay with us and we will be back soon. Hello and welcome to the second half now of Voice of London with me, Ian Pelham Turner on ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk. Today we're going to talk about male mental health. Why? Because it's Male Mental Health Week this week. And again, I've got Byron Canisi with me from UDAV, the leading charity for mental health conditions. So welcome back. You've touched a lot of people's hearts, I know, the last time you were on the show as well. So it's very important really to, first of all, again, explain to me how you personally felt as a man during lockdown, how that affected you.
Yeah, I think it's affected men differently. A lot of men found it like they're being imprisoned in a way, without obviously doing anything wrong. And being locked up in the house has been difficult. some of the neighbours that I've struggled with family situations, and a lot of rows have been happening with sort of partners and things like that. Yeah.
So could you hear all these things? What I mean, were you in total isolation, or did you try to get out, to do exercise and different things? How did you try and get over this situation yourself?
I was in total isolation. I kind of, I just completely submerged myself in activities and things to keep myself busy. And then there's the online sort of video stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I think you do drift off to some strange places when it's too much time isolated. I think with men that are locked up with their families, it's a little bit different. One neighbour that when I would leave the flat, he actually had a bandage on his arm from where he punched the wall.
Really?
Yeah. So, but he's a good man. He would never be violent towards his family, but he lost his temper and went in the other room. So yeah, it happens, and I was just talking to him about that.
Do you find, one of the criticisms that women say about men is that they never really open up to their feelings in life. Do you feel that if men were more open about expressing their feelings, this would help?
I think it could, but I think nowadays there's a big push to try and turn men into women, and there's quite a lot of, personally, it's just an opinion, but there's quite a lot of pressure on men to be like this or be like that. I think the way that a lot of men are is we don't like to talk about our feelings, whether that be good or bad. It's uncomfortable, and therefore, I think we should respect that a little bit. It probably would help men a lot more to talk about their feelings.
What type of things did you physically do during lockdown that helped you get through that period, mentally especially?
I found just absolutely submerging myself in my art, my music. Music has really helped me during this period. It's been a long time since I've been able to do any music, write music, and because there's always a distraction. But during this time, I've been able to completely submerge myself and come up with some music I'm quite happy with, but also exercise and watching films is always good.
So you have a project Mood,
we created this concept called Mood Memos, and what that is this kind of like a sharing thing where somebody who can capture a feeling, and you can capture that in the form of one of the arts, whether that be visual art or music, or if you can make films, whatever your skill is, you capture that feeling. And then what you can do is, because you've materialized it, you can then pass it on to somebody else. Now, how this helps society and the world is because some people are struggling with their mood and they're very much stuck in that state. So by allowing them to come out of that stuck position, you can give them a piece of music or a piece of art, or they can buy it, where they can, for a short period of time, experience a different emotion. This is essential, I feel, because what it does is it reminds the person that the place that they're stuck in is not permanent. And when people commit suicide, from my personal experience and observations and talking to people that have committed suicide and whatnot, there seems to be a sense of there's no hope. I'm stuck here. This is the way it is. Nothing's going to change. And so I'm just trying to break that. And I really feel it could do good things, because a lot of people, it's not just suicide, a lot of people that do very atrocious acts, they're a lot of the time they're in a very dark place themselves. And if you can reach them, then you can prevent things before it happens. I think the key is prevention before it happens.
And I know you've used the phrase before, a very powerful phrase, something to live for. You know, and that's really one of the aspirations, I think, of you, Dev, as well, is to inspire people, isn't it?
I think that's a massive thing. I think a lot of times, especially men, we're brought up, you know, Hollywood films and whatnot, to feel like we are going to achieve something. We're going to be the king of our kingdom or whatever. And the reality is, for many of us, nothing's going to happen. Nothing spectacular. I would argue that it isn't nothing, that actually everybody is equally doing something fantastic in their own way. But it can feel like that for men, like you've not achieved anything, you've not. So when you create an objective, and then there's something to live for, there's something to aim for, there's something to focus all your attention and keep busy and get that task done. It's a reason to keep going. When it feels like the game's lost, that it's game over. And I feel like there's a lot of men out there, especially, that feel like that. You know, society can feel, it's very saturized now, the society we live in. We get told there's a lot of opportunity, but realistically, I don't know. I mean, I've tried acting and whatnot. I've been praised by Roger Deakins and Robert Lindsay and whatnot on national TV. But to actually get in a film and make a career of acting, I mean, I've learned the hard way that is pretty unrealistic. Everywhere you go now, there's a queue down the road to get in on what's going on. So I think a lot of men are just feeling a bit fed up about that.
What do you think success means to you? How would you describe success?
For me personally, I think it's just having a life that you have some control over, having your own slice of the cake, if you will. So, you know, that famous saying, an Englishman's home is his castle, you know, but now you can't even have a home. I mean, you look at most men, you're lucky if you got a home now. If you come from a family where you can have it given to you, that's fine. Or if you are lucky enough not to have had any ill health that will affect your career, then you'll end up with a steady, stable career. You can get a mortgage if you're lucky, and then you can have even a humble home. But now there's a lot of people that's just not a reality. So having a house, whereas before, you're lucky if you've got a garden on your house or something like that now. It wasn't like that like 50 years ago.
Do you not think, though, that with this lockdown, with this coronavirus, things might change now? Because so many people, I think, will be out of work. There won't be so much money around in the first place. So the type of the materialistic things that people go for right now just won't be available anymore at the same time. And that may bring down people's expectations for what is a successful life for themselves.
I'm not sure how it's going to affect people, and I'm a bit concerned, to be honest, because I think what a lot of people have been forced to face the harsh reality of their life. They've been basically put in what might feel like a cage for 2 months, and they've been made to sit there and face what they have in their life and the way, like what it is that they've got. So being able to go, okay, we're going to open the doors now, off you go, it's time to try and make a change to that. I think a lot of people are just going to go absolutely nuts.
Do you think that that it's increased the amount of mental health issues, and especially for men, do you think that's really increased male mental health issues at the moment?
I think so massively, because for me, I'm a strong believer that keeping busy is a good way to keep out of trouble, and that includes mental health trouble. So from my personal experience, from my journey, it's important to keep focused, keep busy, keep doing some tasks, even if the task may not feel like it matters. I mean, what does matter really? But like, and that's not what's happened. Like, people have been made to stay at home with no task.
Yeah. And we were just discussing just before we came on air, obviously Black Lives Matter, all these groups, and really a lot of really sort of angry mobs. You can't call them more than that. Do you think that is partly due to the lockdown and mental health people, almost coming out of a cage into a world that they're not sure of anymore?
I think with the Black Lives Matter movement, that one's complex because that's about racial inequality. So I'm not black, so I can't really pass comment about how I would feel uncomfortable to pass comment on that. But what I can pass comment on is people's behavior, maybe like trashing places and all that kind of stuff. And on that subject, I think it is. I think people are literally they've been held down and then just let out. So, whereas maybe if it came at a different time, maybe there would be less rioting. I think so.
So finally today, how can UDAV help? First of all, can you just tell us how people can contact UDAV, but then how could UDAV really as a movement at the moment help to support people with these types of issues?
We want to hear from people that are producing art or producing music or producing film, and we want to work with them to create things that can help people sort of process their emotional situation, and we want to hear from people that are wanting to support the arts as well. We're filling a space that currently exists where people are coming out from a condition and they're not able to yet go back to their everyday life, so they're in a limbo place, and this is a crucial place where they either do succeed or they crash again. So if there's any art galleries or music producers or film producers out there that want to get involved and support our organisation, as we come out of the social distancing stage, we'll probably be looking for more venues to do events in, but at the moment we can't do that. So,
and how can people contact you?
You can contact us by going to the website and just clicking on the contact button. It will have all the information there.
So that's UDAV.
So www.udav.world.
Right. Well, thank you so much again for giving a more of an insight. As I say, it's very important this week to highlight these issues. It is Male Mental Health Week as well, so we're very happy on this show to actually highlight some of these concerns at the same time. So Byron, thank you so much, and I hope you'll come back and give us more insight into what UDAV are doing at the moment. So from me and from Byron, thank you so much for watching this show. The Voice of London is really concerned about really giving platforms to people who are passionate and care about humanity at the same time. So for today, from me, Ian Pelham Turner, from ALB UK Television and positivebritain.co.uk, have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye for now.